Previously at Apeiron.
What we celebrate in the public, it could be a championship, it could be a promotion, it could be a job or whatever it is, a job offer. But whatever it is or whatever success that we see in the public is a consequence of continual practices, or it's a consequence of consistent action that is taken consistently in the secret place. Hey guys, welcome back to this channel where we dig deep into truth, unlocking potential, and rise into the life that God has called us to be. Now today, I'm going to be helping you understand a principle that turned my life around, and that is goal setting. I want to talk to you about something that changed the entire course of my life, and something that many people never actually learn early, and that's the power of goal setting. So if you stick around in the next few minutes, I promise you something in your life is going to shift. Thank you so much. Now, like I mentioned earlier in my preamble, that today I'm going to be helping you understand a principle that turned my life around. A snapshot of my life. Between the age of 18 and 25, I lived a life without goals. I didn't have direction. I did not have a real plan for my life. Yes, I had a bit of a school, but ideally I had no vision. I had no clear dream. I had no strategy on building anything. You see, I believe that as long as I pray and as long as I'm a good Christian, I don't trouble anyone, I pray, I fast, life will turn around. I thought that good things would actually automatically find me just because I was a nice guy. But guess what? Life does not reward goodness alone. Life rewards clarity, life rewards consistency, and life rewards direction. So for those years I was stuck, living paycheck to paycheck, struggling through a lot in life. Now, mind you, at such a time I used to feel there's something big. I mean, I ought to be something better, something bigger than this. I always felt like I was born for more. I had a purpose to fulfill, but I'm kind of stuck. And in the outside world, it never actually manifested. It never showed up. And I've realized I'm not alone. So many of us, especially those that are in their early 30s, you are broke, you are confused, you have no idea as to why you're here. I always tell you something about my videos. I'm not just talking, I'm not just reading scripts. It's not a matter of faking anything. I have lived these things. So when I come back to share this with you, ideally I'm talking to you about things I've been through, things that I've implemented, ideas that have worked, mistakes that I've made, and corrections that I've made. So that's why I am very passionate, especially to speak to you who is not yet 30, or you who is in your early 30s. I'm talking about people in school, you're in college, you're in university, you're in secondary school. Don't wait, don't drift, don't live by default. And I tell you what, your dreams do really matter, but they must be turned into goals. Alright, so I guess at this point you have been asking yourself a question. He is talking about goals. What is a goal? That's a question I want you to ponder on. I want you to reflect and ask yourself this question. What is a goal? So to be very specific, a goal is a dream with a date. A goal is an intention in motion. Selah, think about it. A goal is the bridge between the version of you today and the person you were born to become. It's not just something you write on a piece of paper. No. It's not just something you write on the piece of the paper. Not really. A goal gives direction to your time, to your thoughts, and to your energy. And without goals, you wake up each day reacting instead of being proactive. You're going to be in a reactive mode. So, but when you set goals, you wake up every day with intentions. You have an intention every day to wake up. Let me say this. A goal is how you tell the world you are serious about your future. That means that anybody without goals, there's a problem or there is a question on how serious they are, especially when it comes to their future. But have you ever asked yourself a question? Why do we even have to desire to grow? It's not just human instinct. Not really. Why do we desire to grow as human beings? Because I'm going to be giving you examples. Elon Musk, a man who is worth over $400 billion dollars. We're not talking about dollars from in any other country. We're talking about the United States of America. $400 billion. But surprisingly, Elon Musk still has goals. Why is it that humans never settle in one place? There's always room for us to grow. And guess what? Anybody who is not dreaming, there's a problem with that particular person. So the reality is, it resonates or it comes from, it exudes from our nature. As people, we are not just bodies. You are not your body, but we have a spirit component. Remember, the good one says that we are created in the image of God, and that God is spirit. So I want to give you a very clear example of what spirit is. I want to use an analogy like oxygen. Oxygen is spirit. Now, we can have 200 billion people on this planet. And I tell you what, none of us is going to exhaust oxygen. Do you know why? Oxygen is infinite. It cannot be consumed to the last dot. All of us are breathing. Me, you, your sister, your brother, all of us are breathing, but oxygen is infinite. That's an example of spirit. Spirit is always infinite. So, like I said, we as human beings have an aspect or a component of our lives that is spirit. And that is where the desire to express comes from. All of us are created in the image of God who is spirit. And that gives us a desire to express more. So the more you manifest, the more you seek to express yourself. That is the origination of why humans actually desire to grow, and why goal setting is very important to your life. You are not just flesh and blood. You have a spirit component. And that spirit component means there is infinity that is embedded in the inside of you. Trust me, we don't know yet what you are capable of doing. Yes, I know you're thinking, is this guy trying to... I'm not a certified minister or preacher or something like that, but I'm just telling you about how life actually works. So he that created you with a purpose, and in the inside of you are seeds of greatness. That's why you feel uncomfortable when you're stuck. You feel a pull when you are not growing. No, it's not greed. It's your divine blueprint crying out for activation. Hear me out. You are not wrong for dreaming bigger. You are not crazy for wanting more. That's your infinite nature seeking to express himself or itself. That is spirit. So again, just to go back to the point I told you earlier, and I say that if you are not dreaming, there's a problem. If there's no desire to grow, there's a problem. So for any man who does not have goals, there's a problem. And I like what Jim Rohn tells us, because he says that in one of those encounters with Al Shaw, I'll ask him a question, that young man, can I have a look at your goals? Maybe from that I will be able to help you. And Jim Rohn said, I have no goal. Then Al gave him a very made a wonderful statement. And he said to him, now because you do not have goals, I can guess the bank balance that you have. I can guess where your life is going to be in the next 5 years. I can guess how ideally your life is, what's going on in your life. Why was that important? Because it's very abnormal for a man not to have dreams or goals. So that was just a little bit of background for you to understand. Why do I even have to do more? Why do I have to manifest more? Why do I have to achieve more? Yes, because you have infinite potential locked in the inside of you. Don't forget that. Even the guy that you see, the beggar on the streets, the homeless guy that you see, regardless of that state, they still have infinity locked up in the inside of them. And if that person is put together, you will be blown away. You will be surprised on what that person can become. The same applies to you. So ideally, that's just a little bit of a background. Now, the other question is going to be, why do we set goals? Or what is the importance of having goals put in place? Number one, the most important thing about goal setting is not what we actually achieve. No. The most important aspect of goal setting is to become. Remember, I've always told you that success is not what we wake up to chase. No. Success is something that we attract by who we become. If you have not read my book called Become, it's an ebook. Kindly order for that book. You send me an email or reach out to me on that WhatsApp number. Then I'm going to be able to send you that ebook. It will help you so much. It's called Become. Unlocking the kind of person success is attracted to. Now, going back to success, again, is not something that you chase. No. It's something you attract by becoming a certain person. So what this means is that the purpose of the goal is not just what you get, no. It's what you become in the process. You grow your muscles. You develop abilities you never even thought that you had. You build resilience and clarity. That's why when you become, you can lose. But because you have become, you have the ability to rebuild. And again, I'm going to reminisce, or I'm going to reference on Jim Rohn's story. He says that at one point he built millions of money, but he lost it all. The fact that he had become, he had built the acumen, the business acumen, the mental acumen to actually rebuild that wealth back. That's the primary purpose of goal setting. It's not in you earning millions of money. Yes, the goal is to actually make $1 million or 2 or 3 or even $1 billion. But there's someone you have to become for you to attract that level of success. Again, one man made a statement, And he said that if they gave you $1 million US today, you had better hope you become a billionaire in your mind, in your personality, lest that money will run away from you in just a space of 6 months. That's why you see that many people who win lottos, those guys go broke. Why? They had not become, and anything that you get by chance, you have no power or ability to sustain it. That's number one. Number two, why do we actually set goals? We set goals for legacy purposes. You're not just building for you, not really. You're building for your children. You're building for your family. You're building for your community. You are breaking limits so that those that come after you won't have to fight the same battles. I'm going to give you an example of a guy like Zig Ziglar. I love this guy. No, it's actually Andrew Carnegie. You see, Andrew Carnegie, in the 60s, this man was worth around 40 million US dollars. But if you bring that money, that value, I mean, if you try to bring it to today's money, perhaps it could be at the level of Elon Musk with around 400 billion US dollars, or even a Bill Gates. So this man says that this was his goal. The first half of his life, he wanted to spend the first half of his life making money. And he wanted to spend the second half of his life giving away the money. Why? It was all about legacy. The ability to impact communities, the ability to change people's lives, the ability to rebuild and reshape a narrative. What a man and what a goal. And trust me, he spent the first half of his entire life, he became a millionaire. And the last half of his life, he gave away the money to charity, to all these, wonderful activities. So, legacy, very important. Now, number 3, we set goals for the sake of redemption. Maybe you have wasted years, maybe you feel behind. But let me tell you something. Goal setting can help you recover that time. The goals will help you align with the season you should be living in. You're not too late, but you are responsible. You are responsible. So I know that at least to this point, you have an understanding of why is it important for you to set goals. What is the purpose of goal setting? Now, I've met so many people in my mentorship journey. I'm a life coach, a professional life coach, certified, and I speak to many people, and sometimes I'm saddened or even having normal conversations, especially with very young people that are 20, 18, 16. And the problem is that they do not have goals. This is a bit problematic. It saddens me because I know where they are going to end. Anybody that does not have a target doesn't have anything to hit. So ideally, they're just going to move around life and live a very predictable life. That's not your story. So if you're 16, you are 17, 15, 20, 25, 29, and you gotta wake up. Even if you're 30, even if you're 40, 50, 60, you still have to dream. Why? Remember the infinite nature that you carry. Okay, so I'm going to move to the next phase of this video, and I want us to understand what happens if I do not set goals. What actually happens? Now, I'm going to be real with you. If you do not set goals, you're going to wake up in your 30s, in your 40s, and wonder, what happened with my life? You're not going to achieve much, but you will look back and you will see wasted energy, wasted potential. And the surprising or even hard bit is that this energy was wasted on things that do not matter. It's like focus. You know, you look at a laser beam. When energy is focused towards something, it's like a laser beam. When its energy is focused on something, it will cut it into pieces. But if that energy is not focused on anything, it becomes weak. It cannot cut anything. It's the same thing. That principle applies to you. If your goal, your energy is not channeled towards achieving anything in life, you are indeed not going to achieve anything. And you're going to wake up when you're 50, you're broke like a joke and ready to choke. That's one I learned from a wonderful mentor of mine. He said that if you're broke like a joke and you're ready to choke, you don't even have the luxury of spending time on the TV. For what? So what I'm trying to say in this is that do not make that mistake. Do not drift. Not really. So I want you to do a better job with your life and start setting goals today. Number 2, you're going to live a life of reacting. You're always going to put out fires instead of building a future that you want for yourself. You're going to put out fires. You will not live a proactive life. You will not have a test of living in the future and coming back to manifest what you actually designed in the future that you want for yourself. You're always going to react to what the bosses are saying. You're always going to react to what the world is saying. You're always going to be in a reactive mode, and that's not a very beautiful place for you to be, because the consequence of that, you're going to be broke. You're going to be sad. Now, the other thing is going to be you're going to move around cycles, old cycles. You're going to be stuck in a survival mode, always busy but never fulfilled. It's very important for you to know. You're going to move around in patterns, cycles, circles. You don't break through. Reason being, you don't have a goal. And worst of all, you're going to feel internal pain. That pain of regret. Why? Because deep down your soul, I know that you know you were born for more. Deep down in your heart, I know that you know you were born for more. You were not born to be ordinary. No, you weren't designed for you to live a life of the predictable cycle or pattern where you go to work, wake up every day stressed, go to work, have kids and die. Not really. And I don't want you to wake up one day regretting what would it have been like if actually I had set goals for my life. What if I had gone for that business goal? What if I had gone for that relationship goal? What if I had gone for that health goal? What if I had gone for that personal development goal? You will wake up one day and sit in a mansion of regrets, wondering what your life could have been. And at that point, it's going to be too late. So please, do not joke around with your life. Now, family, let me say this. Life without goals, a life without goals is a life lived on someone else's terms. What this means is if you do not set goals, you're always going to live your life on other people's terms. So do not handle your future to chance. Take responsibility for your life. Love yourself too much. Love yourself too much that you are willing to spend and be spent on behalf of your future. And I tell you something, somebody out there in the world is waiting for you to become because your voice matters, your story matters. There's a place for you in this wonderful universe to make a difference. So I'm talking to someone who is ideally broke, you're paycheck to paycheck, you're stuck, you're not moving, disappointed, depressed. The solution is not suicide. Wake up, begin to realign, reignite, shake off the dust, arise. You can be more. Now, as I close, I'm going to be giving you a reflection exercise. It's a very simple exercise. So I want you to take a moment and reflect. I want you to grab a notebook and just pause and think through these questions. I'm going to be asking you a couple of questions. What part of your life, this is question number 1, what part of your life feels stuck or needs direction right now? That's question number 1. What part of your life feels stuck or needs direction now? I want you to write down. This is an exercise. Question number 2. What goal have I been avoiding that I know I need to pursue? What's that one thing that you've been avoiding, but you know deep down in your heart you need to pursue? Selah. Write that down for me. Question number 3 is, what lie or limiting belief have I believed about my potential? Could it be like, I cannot speak? Could it be, I'm not a good speaker, I'm not a good business person, I don't have the business acumen for me to succeed? What self-limiting belief did you or are you harboring in the inside of you? Write this down. I want you to take time and pray on it. Talk to someone about it and decide, starting today, you are not living passively, but you're going to actively participate in the making of the future that you want to make. Remember, the concept of the future does not exist. The only future that exists is the future that you see for yourself. That means, by any chance, if you do not see a future, there is no future. That's the truth. The future does not exist. The only future that exists is the future that you design for yourself. I mean, is he trying to say that as human beings or as people, we do not need God or something? No. I'm certain that God has put the seed of greatness in you for you to determine the kind of life you want to live. Pretty much serious on that. So, my final words, this is not just a message, it's a wake-up call. I remember it was one point in my life, and I listened to, or I was watching a video by a wonderful, wonderful woman, Teresa Bell. And I think that video was called a wake-up call or something. It was about decluttering. It was a wake-up call indeed. It was a video like this that turned my life around. So your life has purpose. Your life has purpose. Your dreams have value. And your goals are tools that will help you move from the place of being stuck to the very place that you are ordained to live. Thank you so much for sticking around. In the next video, I will be walking you through the principles that will not only help you set goals, but also help you achieve them. So if this message spoke to you, please like, comment, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and do not forget to subscribe. Make sure that you click the notification bell so that you're notified every time we upload a video. Remember, nothing changes until you change. Let's arise, let's build, and let's become. Thank you so much. Neo Manasa, see you next time.